You can go to the Patreon link in the description of this video to receive instant access to the entire course with either a Tier 2 or 3 subscription, or by purchasing the course individually. In this video, we'll be looking at which bar and picks are best suited for the steel guitar. So let's get started. So I'm going to start at the very basic thing in that when I first started playing, I did not use finger picks. I simply used my fingernails, and I still do that some today. For certain applications. So if you're thinking like a guitar player, a lot of times they'll just use a flat pick and then they'll actually use their fingers to play. So you can do that. Okay, so it is possible to play without finger picks. What you run into is that a couple of things. The tone's going to be different. The volume is different because with metal to metal, it's just going to be a more crisp sound, more of an attack on the string where it's a little bit louder. Also, that encompasses that you have to be able to, have fingernails. Some jobs you work, or if you work with your hands a lot, it may not be feasible to do that. I would say that if you're just starting out, start with picks or get into the habit of using finger picks. Now I'm going to put the finger picks on, the metal finger picks, and normally these finger picks are stainless steel or nickel silver. When you're looking them up, you'll see that listed. Okay, I really didn't mess with the volume any. That's just okay, so you get more volume with a metal pick. Now some of the brands you'll see are National, Ernie Ball, Dunlop, Kaiser, and Hofmeier. You'll need 2 finger picks. And also, as an aside, we'll talk about how to shape them in another video with some real detailed shots up close. But you'll need 2 metal finger picks and 1 thumb pick. Now the next thing you want to look at is that you'll have a different gauges. So you'll have picks that are thinner, they'll be easier to shape, or you'll have picks that are real thick, which is what I've got. Once you get these thicker picks shaped, they won't hardly bend anymore. So the good part of that is that when you're playing, you're not worried about them becoming, maybe for lack of the term, D-shaped. So you'll see me a lot of times when I'm playing, I'll be doing this. I'm actually like either pushing that pick up on my hand or pushing it like that. Some of that's just a habit, but some of it I'm actually just trying to keep that pick up on my fingers like it feels comfortable to me. You'll also see too that a lot of these picks will be rounded on the end, or there'll be like a sharp point. What I would suggest would be getting like maybe a light and a medium set. So get you 2 sets of these. And just try, like when you're first learning, maybe to use that's like a light gauge finger pick. Might seem more natural to you. Okay, so that's the brands. Like I said, they're going to be stainless steel or nickel silver is how they're listed. And then you'll need 2 of these, 1 for your index, 1 for your middle. Okay, so the next thing you're going to do is that you're going to need a thumb pick. Now the thumb picks, they're either going to be nylon or a plastic thumb pick, and I use both. Now some of the thumb picks that brands are Fred Kelly, which is what these are. National makes one. blue Herco. Now, you definitely have to have a thumb pick. I mean, you might get away with playing with your fingernails with your index, middle fingers, but you'll need a thumb pick. There's different thicknesses of these, and they're not real expensive. I would just try one of each, maybe a light, medium, and a heavy, and just figure out which one that you feel comfortable with. Because I stress that a lot. It's about feeling comfortable and natural with your picks, with your thumb pick. So now you won't really notice much difference in the sound, I don't think, with the thumb pick, whether it's plastic or nylon. That's So that's not going to be much of an issue. The only thing that I see that is that the plastic ones will eventually, normally they'll age and they'll break. So I used to use a pick like this a lot, and again, you don't have to necessarily zoom in to see it, but it was like a real thin plastic pick. I really liked it, but they just notoriously break. So I would keep like 4 or 5 of them on my guitar when I was playing. So the plastic ones are a little more prone to break. The nylon ones, I've never had one break. It's just, like I said, you might wear them down a little bit, but they're not going to break being made out of nylon. Now, with this, there's lots of dealers out there selling bars, and again, not any endorsements. It's just that I have some different bars that I've tried over the years. The bars are usually going to be made out of stainless, Monel. Some of the brands, there's Ernie Ball, Dunlop, John Pierce, BJS, and then a New Generation bar, which is what this one is. Now, the things you see in the bar will be the size of the bar and the weight. Normally there's either a 7/8 bar, which is what this one is, or you'll have one that's a little thicker, a 15/16. So in other words, the diameter of this is bigger, it's 15/16. They even go up to a 1-inch, even bigger than this. And what I find is that as I get older, I prefer a larger diameter bar. It's just easier for me to hold in my hand. So, and also, if you have a bigger bar like this, it's more apt to be truer on the fret marking. So it's actually covering more of the fret up. So again, you have normally like a stainless, and these bars are stainless. And then this is one that a friend made for my dad a long time ago. This one's made out of Monel, which is just a different kind of metal. With the bars you're going to run into is the price. So you can check around on that, but if you go ahead and get a good quality bar, it'll last you pretty much forever, because you can even repolish them if they get scuffed or a little, some indentions or dinks on them. A guy gave me one of these at a steel guitar show I did. It's a BJS bar. That's been a really good bar. That's a good quality bar. But you'll have to make that call. Like I said, I would recommend getting either a 7/8 bar or a 15/16. And if you can afford to get both, do that. But they'll run, the price range is, I would say, probably around $50-$60, probably to over $100. So that's, depends on what you can afford or what you want to invest. Then the other thing is, you'll notice these are rounded on the end. That's called a bullet bar, or a rounded tip. Now, if you see, and I just happen to have one, you'll have a bar like this. This is actually for a dobro. Now, what you run into if you have this kind of bar is that on dobros you're doing a lot of pull-offs and hammer-ons. Now on a steel guitar, if you try to slide this bar forward over the strings, that flat end is going to catch. It's going to catch those strings. So you do not want a bar like this. This is actually made, it's designed for a dobro. So we don't want that. You want to, when you're looking, don't get this kind of a bar. You want one that's rounded like that. That pretty much covers what you're going to need. You really need to go ahead and get you some finger picks. I would get probably 2 sets of those, either in a light and a medium, and then I would get 2 or 3 different sizes of thumb picks. Get you, probably to start out with, most people use a 7/8 bar, and then that would be a good one to start with. Get you a good one that's, a good stainless bar that's a rounded tip bar. Now that we've looked at which bar and picks to use on our steel guitar, we'll look at how to shape and wear our metal finger picks on the next video. But first, if you'd like to support our channel, the best way to do that would be to join our Patreon site. But you can also press the join, like, or subscribe buttons below. We'd like to thank our supporters on YouTube and Patreon, especially our Tier 3 supporters, Jim, M. Medlock, William, Philip, Arthur, and Douglas. So thanks again, and keep picking.